One, two, one, two.
Hola.
Excellent.
Very nice.
So, good morning to this amazing crowd from the Firefish team. Thank you for coming over for our Fireside chat. My name is Igor. I'm the co-founder of Firefish. And with me today we have Finn, who's our refugee ambassador from Germany. Good morning, Finn. So we actually are not going to be talking about Firefish that much because as you can see, there's this little black stand right next to this one where you can really ask all the questions about what we do, how we work, and what are the basically benefits of the platform that we've developed. We're going to be talking a little more about Finn's story, basically. So Finn is, as I mentioned, he's coming from Germany, but he recently moved to Prague. He's obviously a hardcore Bitcoiner, toxic maximalist, yes, as he calls himself. Toximalist. There's a new word we can put into the dictionaries. So I'll be asking a couple of questions to Finn. As I mentioned, he's our ambassador. He's helping us with the German-speaking markets and global key opinion leaders. But we're going to be focusing, as I mentioned, on Finn's path through Bitcoin from Germany to Prague, and maybe give you a couple of insights on how it feels, how it actually goes when you're actually leaving one country and moving to another. But before we start, Finn, I'll ask you one very easy question. So on a scale from 0 to 10, how hangover are you today?
Velki. I think it's 11, I would say.
11.
Yeah, that's why we wear the sunglasses, but I think you're also...
No, I'm wearing the sunglasses because you do, so yeah. It's just I want to be, helping you on
you
this front. You
don't want me to put them off.
Yeah. So anyway, Finn, maybe if you can give us actually a couple of words about yourself. How did you actually fall into the Bitcoin rabbit hole in Germany? And then we're going to go from there.
Thank you very much, Igor. I'm Finn. I'm 27 years old now. And like Igor said, I just recently moved to Prague, roughly 1 month ago, from Germany. I come from West Germany. It's like in the near of Bochum. It's actually the most populated area in Germany where I come from. And we can talk later why I actually moved here. But how I got into Bitcoin was, I was like 17 years old and I finished school. And I was just thinking, one day later I want to buy a house. And I was just Googling the house prices. And I was like, that's quite expensive. What's the average income like I could expect? And I was like, this means I would need to, if I want to buy a house in cash, I would need to work 20 years or something, or be in debt for my whole life. And I was like, this is not really working. So I need to do something. And then this whole investment stuff came up, like investing in something. And I didn't have a clue about anything. Like I never invested, my family never did. And I didn't have a clue about anything. So I knew that I didn't have a clue. And I just went to the local library and bought a book to learn something. And I knew I have no clue. So I just took the next book that was there. And it was Forex Trading for Beginners. And it was actually very shit, and I recognized it after the first few pages. But I got a little bit understanding what markets are, or at least how you can read this candlestick shit. It was very interesting. Let's see. But afterwards I recognized, that's maybe not the way. I'm not trading or anything. I just want to save. And then of course all these ETFs was there. I know that inflation is there. That you at least need to outperform. Inflation is there for 2%. I don't know why it's there. It's just there, and I need to somehow deal with it. And so I got into this all investing stuff, blah, 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 commodities, I don't know what. And then one day, some good friend of mine, and he came to me and said, Finn, I know, I found this one thing, and it's like Bitcoin and crypto. He spoke actually of Ethereum. That was very bad. But he said, look into it. It's very nice, and Bitcoin is actually limited. Bitcoin is digital gold. It's very cool. It's limited. That means it's not inflating, and that was interesting for me. But he said, there's also Ethereum. That's digital oil. In retrospect, this whole perspective of digital oil, I don't know what it is. You don't fuel your car with digital oil. That's not working. So I don't know. But that was when my shitcoins phase started, and then. I don't know, 2021 or so, I really got into Bitcoin rabbit hole itself, learned more about inflation, monetary theory, yeah, also school of economics. I never dealt with it before. Like where I come from, I would say in Germany, it's quite no one knows anything about money. Let's say so. No one talks about it. So all this stuff was new for me, and I got deep in the rabbit hole and learned about money. And then, like in 2022, I started. I mean, in the German space, we have quite many podcasters, Bitcoin-only podcasters on YouTube, but there was a few Bitcoin-only podcasters I saw. But they were all like doing 1 hour videos, and I just thought, yeah, it might be good to have some smaller 10, 15-minute explanatory videos about Bitcoin, because I would need them myself, so I wouldn't have fallen the shitcoin rabbit hole at first. And yeah, that's how I started a YouTube channel, also by practicing to speak, because I know I can't speak that well in front of people, for example. So I just started this channel also for myself to teach some people about Bitcoin. And yeah, then now I'm here basically. So this was some interesting ride.
To cut the story short, so starting from Forex for beginners to Prague, basically, that's yes. In two sentences. All right, so then what does Bitcoin mean for you actually today? What is it?
It's absolute mathematical scarcity. I don't know, it's freedom. It's just, the only thing is limited. Everything is falling to zero against Bitcoin, and that just gives me, you can plan for the future now. Like you can actually say, okay, I have money, hard money that isn't inflating, and I can actually buy a home with it someday. Not now, but it's a get rich slow scheme. It's not like this crypto shit where you like try to get rich quick and die with it, basically monetary wise. It's self-sovereignty. You have your fucking Bitcoin, no one can take them from you. I love it. Like it just gives you hope, a good feeling. You just feel better overall. You start looking for your health more. Maybe not yesterday, but in general. I started going to the gym, for example. So I don't know, everything's very nice about Bitcoin.
Excellent. And so let's move on to how you moved actually to Prague. So you mentioned that you're from this beautiful region of Ruhr, which is very famous for coal mines and heavy industries, basically. So the way it started, actually, maybe just to explain a little, we met Finn last year at one of the conferences in Germany, and he came to our stand. He looked at our statements like Bitcoin-backed lending, finally done right. He thought we were some sort of cocky scammers, that's his word. But then later we started talking about the details, and he got actually convinced that it's a good thing to do. And I still remember when we started the collaboration with Finn, we asked him one day, like, hey, would you move to Prague? And he was like, nah, I've got a cat, and all these important things like flowers at home. And so he was like, no, I would never move to Prague. So then we were like, okay, so why don't you come over to Prague for 2 weeks, right? Just to meet us in person, spend some time in the office. And after 1 week, he was like, I'm moving. So what happened? Why suddenly out of, the state where you were like, no, I've got a cat and a couple of plants at home, you were like, I'm moving to Prague. So what impressed you, and why do you change your mind so rapidly, I would say?
So in general, in Germany, we have a very strong Bitcoin community, like a very strong, maybe the strongest one in the world, I don't know, at least the Bitcoin-only community. That's the reason why I even stayed that long in Germany, because this gives you some kind of hope, you have some people to meet. But like, especially where I come from, it's called it socialistic. It's not, like you don't feel so comfortable there as a Bitcoiner, let's say. And so I always thought about moving somewhere else. That was like always, I knew I'm going to need to go somewhere else. Also, we don't want to dive into politics now, I think too much, but also Germany is just going the wrong direction, and there's really no hope. Like, I'm here at the booth, and all the German guys are coming to me, speaking to me in German, and everyone is talking about, I've already moved to there and there, I'm trying to move somewhere, or I want to move, I'm thinking about moving. Germans are basically freeing right now, so I'm now a Prague refugee. So this was like not a completely new idea, but that it's happening now and to Prague, that's what I never thought actually. But yeah, I really like the living quality is so much higher here. Like it's where I come from, it's like the most populated area in Germany or something. Also the most poorest area, and we don't have any parks. You need to walk like 30 minutes to get to a park, and here you have thousands of parks. You can actually go out. So in Germany, I'm completely, my skin color is, as Igor says, transparent, because there's nothing you can do outside, basically. It's just, we don't even really have bars. We don't have a club. There's nothing. And here in Prague, you really have everything. and the Bitcoin community and the people in general. Like, it's they're just more. You have this libertarian history, and that's something that's not working in Germany. Like, it's always the same. We start a world war, and after this we say this was bad, so we need to do.
When the third one?
Let's see. We don't want to, but yeah, it's like
that's what they said before as well.
That's actually true. And that's the reason, like, Germans want to prevent that we're doing another world war. So they don't say, let's cut down the governments. They say, no, we need to do a better government. It's actually more restrictive there. And we need to have it more tighter, everything. And then, so we don't have another war. And then it happens again. And now we're like, no, we need to do it better, even better. And it's just the wrong approach. And here you're like you don't care that much about politics, I would say. And you're also more, the word libertarian isn't so foreign to Czech people than to Germans. Like, no one in Germany knows what libertarian is. I never heard this word until I got into Bitcoin. And I think everyone, basically, my whole group in school, family, it's the same. Like, it's really not a thing. If you're proud to pay taxes in Germany, like, I think we have the second highest taxes in Germany in the world or something. And people really like saying, they're flexing at the table, like, I'm paying so much taxes. And they're like, oh, you're so good to if you want to pay less.
I think we are at the right stand, right? When it says tax me.
Taxation is theft, yes.
Exactly.
And they're flexing that they pay so much taxes. And if you say, I want to pay less taxes, they see you as a kind of evil guy because you're stealing from the poor. That's basically what the approach in Germany is. Like, you'd really trust the government. If the government says this is bad, it should be banned, and you do it, and you are bad because you are against the state. That's at least, I mean, of course, you always need to. There are different regions in Germany, of course. It's more where I come from. If you go to the south of Germany, you really see that they are more educated about money, so they're more open. They're more open to Bitcoin also. If you look at the 21 meetups, for example, there are more meetups that are near Switzerland or so, because the people there are just more educated about money. They at least maybe heard about Austrian School of Economics. So that's South Germany is richer, and you can see it.
So also, I don't want this to sound like we're just selling passports to Czech Republic, and we are not sponsored by the government, first and foremost. But, obviously living in Germany, it's not only the downsides, it doesn't have only the downsides. And you mentioned that the Bitcoin community is really strong, right? So can you tell us a little more about this? And then maybe the comparison of, if there's any differences between, let's say, the Czech Bitcoin community or the Bitcoin life in general in Czech Republic compared to Germany? I would say that in Germany we have a strong community because we have, as Gigi, like the 21 founder said, you need to have the cyberspace first and then the meet space. So especially in the last days, I talked to many 21 founders all around the world, and most of them have meetups, but they don't have a podcast. They don't have a Bitcoin only podcast. And you need to somehow get people connected. They need to be interested in Bitcoin. They need to be interested in meeting up, actually. And if you just have a meetup, you have like these people who always reoccurring come there, but like you don't get new people, And I think so having podcasts is very important, actually, and having different podcasts. And that's what Germany, like we have 10, 20 Bitcoin only YouTube channels there in German. And I think that's really helps the community very much. So that also brings other people to make a podcast. So it keeps growing and growing and growing. And that's why the community is so strong. And in Czechia, I think it's quite similar, actually. If you look at Kitsum, he's like, if you compare it to per capita, like so many people here in Czechia watch Kitsum, like it's a big percentage. In Germany, we have, for example, Block Trainer. He's the I think largest Bitcoin only YouTube channel in the world. Like he's live streams sometimes have like 100,000 views. He's even also talking with politicians, for example, educated them about Bitcoin. And he's this is something very big that Germany has in this kind of way. But there's a big gap between the Bitcoin community and the rest of Germans, let's say. The very big gap. So, yes. And in terms of, let's say, we always talk about living the Bitcoin standard, right? Like the adoption of Bitcoin. Actually, obviously, we're at a conference where you can buy coffee, where you can buy a lot of other things. You know, in Bitcoin, you can do transactions, you can pawn your Bitcoin and get a loan against it. But how do you feel? What is the real adoption of Bitcoin, not only inside of the community, but in the wider economy or wider country in Germany compared to Czech Republic, for example?
I think it's lower because, like, there is this hardcore community, and there are also some Germans who like have something in crypto, like this 5%, 1 to 5% risk allocation there. That's if they're into investing. And like, especially 10 years ago, no one, even ETF was gambling for most of the Germans. Like still, it's investing is bad. Like Germans are like I think one of the countries in the world that hold the most money in the bank account actually. Like they're just stupid. Like it's, yeah. They like being paying taxes basically in inflation or taxes as they are. So yeah, it's
okay. And your experience in Czech Republic in terms of the adoption?
Yeah, if you go to the streets, I think you just have more this mindset, this Bitcoin mindset in general in the population, I would say, and it's just missing in Germany in general, at least in West Germany, let's say. So yeah, you're better, let's say.
Well, I'm actually from Slovakia, so I don't consider myself.
Actually, the Bitcoin adoption, like when it comes to paying in shops, I founded the 21 Bochum meetup there, and there were many shitcoiners, but also we don't have a Bitcoin shop. There's no one accepting Bitcoin there. Of course, we only have few bars, so there's not much you can do actually. But yeah, there's like very few companies. We barely have any companies in Germany, Bitcoin companies, because regulations are so shitty, and so no one wants to go there. It's the reason why all the companies are in Switzerland, the German companies, Switzerland or Austria, also because they're more educated. And yeah, I don't know, it's weird.
Okay, super. And tell us also, I mean, speaking of the community, so Finn is actually one of the Führers of the 21 German 21 community. So tell us a little more about what these 21 communities are. How do you guys work? I mean, I know that yesterday you had a very nice, I think it was the first global sort of meetup of members of the 21 groups from around the world. So tell us a little more about 21, how it started, and what is the impact actually that this kind of community has.
I'm actually not an 21 OG, like there are people way before me there. It's like in 2019, it just started as a podcast also. It's 21 podcast with like 2 people, and they just started talking about Bitcoin, and they're very toxic. That's what it's very good. I think it's very important to be a toxic Bitcoiner. And yeah, they just talked about Bitcoin, and so got more people into it, hosting the podcast. So they had like every week they could do like these episodes. And then from, I don't know, 1-2 years later, they started with this idea, yeah, let's do meetups. Actually do meetups, it's 21 meetups, because of 21 means 21, because of 21 million Bitcoin. So they just started doing meetups there, and they made a website where you can actually sign up. Everyone can create a meetup themselves, it's 21 meetup, and you can then say, hey, I found a meetup. You can see them here on the website. Just put them in there, and you can always see I'm living here. It's in East Germany, and the nearest meetup is there. And if there's no meetup in your place, you just pick up 1-2 Bitcoiners, and found the meetup yourself. Put it on the 21 website, for example, and then you can connect with other Bitcoiners. That's basically the approach. And we just copy this blueprint to worldwide, so other countries can copy it. And there's like this 21 world idea. And so like there are now meetups all around the world, basically, more or less. I think especially Turkey is very big. We also have Argentina is also starting now, not starting. They're also quite big actually. Latin America in general, Denmark. I just talked to someone, of course, DACH region, but also Italy, Spain, not that much, but it's really everywhere and it's spreading. So found your own meetup. I think that's the most. If you should do something, then do this. Or start a podcast. It might be even better.
So also, I think the very interesting fact about this community is that actually it's sort of self-organized. Normally, when we talk about communities or groups of people, there's always like a head, and there are people who are actually driving all these activities themselves proactively and all that. So what is the difference in the 21? It is a grassroots movement, we could call it, right? In terms of how people are organized, how they meet, and all that.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it was a podcast by 2 people who like Bitcoin, and then it just spreads. They got donations and everything, So yeah, it's just like, of course, there are people who have more influence than others. It's always happens because they're just earlier there and they have more reputation. But in the end, everyone can just join, do their own meetup, and just spread Bitcoin. So everyone can do it. Everyone can do it by themselves. You don't ask for permission, just do it. That's the thing. Never ask for permission to be a Bitcoiner. So yeah, everyone can do it all around the world. And I think the most important thing is that you actually do it in your own language. That's very important. Don't do it in English. I also thought like everyone can speak English, but especially when you when you speak English in a German space, for example, you really recognize how many Germans don't speak English or they can barely speak English. So I think it's very important to always have a meetup, a Bitcoin community in your own language. So as Gigi said in his 21 World page, they already don't do an English book or whatever, also do an English book, but especially there's still 7,000 languages that don't have any Bitcoin content. So focus on that. I think that's the most important step to spread Bitcoin.
Definitely. And I can only agree because we did have the opportunity to meet a couple of 21 communities in different countries. And you see that really adds a lot of value where when these communities are connected, they do their local stuff, they're spreading the Bitcoin thesis across the board in their local community. So this is great. Now, maybe let's go back to your move actually to Prague. One question that actually came to my mind. So you said in Prague the adoption is or in Czech Republic in general, the adoption of Bitcoin is pretty strong. The community is rather strong as well. 21 is very active here. You actually do work for a Bitcoin company, right? So how important was actually this, the fact that you're in a Bitcoin company, you're moving to a country that is kind of more open, more liberal than where you're coming from, and the fact that the community is so strong? Did this actually play any role in your decision-making process?
Yeah, that was actually, I would say, the most important role actually, because I just want to, also Czechia is still in the EU, so that's not a big thing. That's not a good thing, I think. But still, it's looking still much better as it is right now than Germany, and the outlook is maybe better. So I think it's just better to be around Bitcoiners if things go shit or shit hits the fan. So but like I plan to be here next years and just see how the world is changing right now. I think there's right now really coming some change globally in terms of Bitcoin adoption. It's really accelerating very fast. So I just want to see how the world is changing. Maybe I stay here forever. I don't know. Maybe there's some other country coming up that say, that's a Bitcoin country I want to go. I'm also thinking about Argentina. Like that's actually quite interesting, but I still need to look how everything is developing. I think it's quite still too early, everything. So I stay here in Prague, the Bitcoin capital of Europe, and then see how the world is developing.
Excellent. And to your point, like how the world is changing, actually, it's very true. Like I remember, I'm a bit older generation than Finn, and I remember back in the 90s, 80s, people were dreaming here in Czechoslovakia at that time. People were dreaming to move to Germany. Germany was like the holy grail, the best country, in Europe. Everybody was like, oh my God, that's my dream. I want to go there. And now you're saying that actually you're here in the first place. You're saying that many people on our stand were telling you that they want to move. So what has changed? Why such a massive shift suddenly?
I think it's not even suddenly. It's like
actually, and to the point, obviously, Finn has a couple of funny stories about cab drivers. When he told them that he's from Germany and all that. But why is it so that people do not dream about moving to Germany anymore?
Yeah, like you can see it. We have so many immigrants in Germany, Turkish people, Polish people, and I know multiple people who moved here like 10, 20 years ago to Germany, and now they're moving back. Because economy is shrinking actually, and there's no outlook. That's the thing. There's no hope. If you can say, it's just a short phase, it's okay. But like the government is just going worse. It's like either the taxes stay this high or they go even higher. And we have higher inflation. Now they were always like the country in Europe or EU zone that actually has the debt, or like they're more conservative when it comes to debt. And now they're like going full into a financing war. That's like also it's going to take a toll on the people, and they know it. And it's like the jobs are. I actually an engineer, like I studied engineering, and many of my engineering friends they lose their jobs at this German, mechanical engineering stuff. All the big companies, so they really start to, or the automotive company also, like they're starting to close some factories, move to Czechia or where else, because it's just cheaper there actually also, and it's just maybe even better, right? Because there are very few really educated people, good people who come to Germany to work there. Why should you go there? It's just very high taxes. Taxes are just rising, and there's like, you don't want to, it's so much regulation, so much bureaucracy. The people are not really nice to you. The language is very hard to learn. There's like, it is not, you don't have to dream of like getting, I don't know, it's just, the outlook is bad.
Yeah, this is really interesting actually. Like, I wouldn't say that here in Czech Republic we're living in a fantasy land and everything is epic and we don't have taxes and everybody's paying with Bitcoin. But hearing from you that still there are things that are not going the right direction and you feel yourself much more comfortable here is really very interesting. So tell us maybe also a couple of words about the actual process, because moving between countries, yes, you didn't move through continents and all that, but how was it for you from the perspective? Obviously you've got your family in Germany, you've got your friends, the whole community there, and suddenly you're coming to completely new environment. Yes, you did know a couple of people, but how was it from the technical perspective, from the emotional perspective, from the mental perspective for you to move to Prague?
I mean, I'm actually going around. It was like now from 0 to 100. I'm always like going around all the places. So I'm still going to Germany from here and then. It's also not that far away, right? So I'm still seeing my family and friends. But yeah, like, I mean, also technically, it's not as a EU citizen, especially from Germany, it's quite easy to go to Prague. It's also quite easy to get a flat here. The only problem is I can't speak Czech because I never had Czech in school or anything. You can't learn it basically anywhere.
And apparently Czech language is one of the hardest in the world, right? Isn't it?
Yeah, Není dobrý. Yeah, like, but in general, the whole process of coming here was quite easy. The only problem is everyone speaks English. That's very good. Some even speak German. I understand German if you speak slowly. But if you go to some government stuff, like that's where shit hits the fan, and I need to have someone from Czechia with me who speaks Czech. But it's also very good that you have it all online. In Germany, really, you're still getting fax machines, basically. Not fax machines, but you have everything with letters. When I moved to my flat, I didn't have the key to my mailbox. And I was like asking my landlord, yeah, can you get the keys? He was like, yeah, sure, we'll get it done. And it was like actually quite some work to get it done. And then I returned to the office. I was like saying, hey, I have this key to my mailbox now. And then I was like, why do you need a mailbox for? I never received a physical mail in like 3 years. I was like, oh, okay, I get it every week in Germany. Like that's, I don't know, that's quite interesting. But yeah, I don't know. It's still, for me, it's not that a big change that I'm now living in Prague. I'm also feeling better now here. It's like I said, the living quality is so much better here. You have everything. It's just nice. You can do so much stuff here. It's greener. People are more, I like them more, even though they're quite similar to Germany, I would actually say. It's not like a big cultural difference. But yeah, it's nice.
Nice. And maybe final question. I think we're on time now. Bitcoin is really also about, as you mentioned, freedom, liberty, flexibility to move somewhere else. You hold it in your own hands. So you're the ruler basically of your life. In terms of freedom and kind of really living the life the way you want. And actually, I can also speak for myself a little, because I also used to live abroad in Russia. When the war started, I had to kind of pack my stuff and leave quickly, and I wasn't able to move my money from Russia for obvious reasons. So Bitcoin was actually the way how I could actually collect all my sort of assets and move wherever I wanted to. So considering all this, considering that people really want to live great lives, people want to enjoy themselves, they want to use their potential, they don't want to be just kind of running in the treadmill and living the stereotypical life every day. What is your advice, for looking at your experience of a Bitcoiner moving from one country to another? What would you tell people to consider from this perspective?
I don't have Bitcoin, so it's hard to imagine for me right now. But I don't know. I don't think it's like a big difference if you're a Bitcoiner or not. Like, at least just go where freedom is better than where you are.
Would you say so? Is this the fact? Like, do you see this trade on Bitcoiners? Like, they're much more sort of attentive to values of freedom, of liberty, and all that.
So. Yeah, that's the way. Yeah, sure, I agree. But in general, yeah.
Don't be scared, basically.
Don't be scared.
If you're a Bitcoiner, don't be scared. Bitcoin fixes it all, right? Super. Okay. Perfect. Thanks a lot, Finn. Thank you guys for listening to our little chat. And if there are any questions, we're at the Firefish stand. Feel free coming over. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.